G'day.
Hi.
Hi. Hey, Tammy. So I'm super excited about this conversation because this is a conversation that really needs to be had. I am here with Tammi Kirkness, and she runs a company called Vision Scope Coaching. And her business supports women with high functioning anxiety to not only understand and get aware that they actually have it, but also to move through it and become super powerful in their abundance in their lives, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that made us sort of have this conversation today was we were having a conversation about some of the stats around those that have high functioning anxiety. And the numbers are off the charts, right?
Totally. What we found is that 1 in 3 women in Australia have anxiety generally, and then on top of that are a bunch more women who have the high functioning equivalent.
Right, and also like what I found in my own research and my study is that Australian women between the ages of 20 and 29 actually have the lowest levels of well-being in the country. They even have lower levels of well-being than unemployed people, closely followed by women between the ages of 30 and 49. So we've never had it so good. What is actually going on? And what we found is that 1 in 3 Australian women will suffer from anxiety, and it is the #1 mental health condition. So what Tammi is working on is so important for women to be able to tap into to move through the challenges that they're having. So kudos to you, gorgeous. That's a big deal. Okay, so we're going to ask you some questions.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know like what the symptoms of high functioning anxiety are. So what are they?
So essentially, on the outside, people who have high functioning anxiety look like they've got it all together. Their colleagues and their friends will say things like, "Oh my gosh, you're nailing it. You're doing such a great job." They're quite successful generally in business or successful in their career as well. But internally, they've got a lot of the symptoms of general anxiety. So things like a lot of overwhelm, worrying all the time, knots in their tummy. They're quite jumpy, so if they hear a loud noise, they'll jump out of their skin probably more so than the average person. So sometimes their adrenals might be kicked out of gear a little bit more as well. And generally, they're just struggling a little bit inside, but nobody would know.
And they're not alone. I mean, even in my study, I found that like 6 in 10 are feeling overwhelmed more often than they're not. And in your study, you found similar things around the number of people that are feeling these types of feelings more often.
Oh, big time. And of all the people that identified with high functioning anxiety, what we found is that 1 in 4, the hardest part of it for them was day-to-day coping, which is having it all together and, you know, getting the kids to school on time, making the lunches, or sending a report on time, and not being such a perfectionist and not procrastinating at the same time. And then all of the sleep stuff comes in as well, in that they're often finding it quite hard to fall asleep because they're a bit tired but wired.
Yeah, I can totally understand. So many people that I've experienced and worked with have this exact problem. So how do you know if you have high functioning anxiety or you've got normal anxiety? Like, what's actually the difference between the two?
So normal anxiety under the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual is referred to as generalised anxiety disorder. And one of the criteria of being diagnosed with that is that day-to-day functioning struggles so much that people will struggle to pay their bills even if they've got the money. They can't turn up to work. They struggle to hold down a relationship, for example. Whereas people with the high functioning version, they can do all of that, and they can do it with their eyes closed, their hands tied behind their back, and they're doing 5 other things at the same time. But they've still got the internal symptoms of somebody with that general anxiety.
So what are the benefits of those people with high functioning anxiety actually working through what they've got going on?
Yeah, well, some of the benefits generally are that they're quite successful. So we actually want to utilise the things that they're quite good at, their strengths, their ability to to get things done, to network, to often be quite socially adept, and we want to utilise those. But first we need to get to neutral. So if they're struggling and they're down here and they're worrying and their tummy's in knots, we want to get them up to a neutral position, and then we can help them thrive.
So is this really about elevating performance, about elevating energy? Like, what are some of the outcomes of some of the work that you would do with people through your high functioning anxiety course?
The main thing is to find a sense of contentment and peace. Because inside it's like a factory that's going on overdrive, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
A lot of these people, myself included, can get physically and mentally exhausted. That's almost quite difficult to describe. So we want to get them to a space where they can go,
yeah, totally. And why are you doing this? Like, why are you really focusing on this particular segment of people? What is it that you want to achieve?
The big why for me is that this is something that I've managed my whole life as well, and after seeing coaching clients in my life coaching practice for the last 4 years, I am over the fact that this is so rampant. It is everywhere, and working with people one-on-one, while it is amazing and uplifting, this message needs to get out there in a much bigger way, and we need to make a bigger dent in helping people to feel more peaceful.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So what we're going to do is in the comments, oh, actually I just screwed that up, but anyway, who cares? So, for those of you that feel like after watching this video, you're like, oh my God, the penny has finally dropped. I actually have what I believe is high functioning anxiety. I've been hiding it for so long, even though I'm so calm on the outside.
Yeah.
Things are falling apart inside, and at any moment, I know that things could fall apart. I recommend that you check out Tammy's course, Learn to Manage Your High Functioning Anxiety. Look it up, see if it resonates with you, and if it does, feel it really in your heart and say yes to yourself, because the world needs what you have, and it needs you at your calm, loving, and amazing best.
Oh,
It's my pleasure, sweetheart.